You and I are gonna tear shit up! Woo!
Should I stay or should I go?
Hey YouTube, Blackhawk Thunder here, and this is my kind of review of Far Cry 4. I was planning on doing a full scale one and everything, but I just didn't have time, and after finding out that my mic, it makes this crackling sound when I upload to YouTube, I kind of got a little discouraged from doing it, and yeah, but anyways, I'm just going to share some thoughts on it right now, and it's not going to be a full-fledged review, but I'm just going to share some thoughts while you look at some of the various types of gameplay that Far Cry 4 has to offer. Multiplayer will not be included in this, as I have not got around to playing that yet, but I will include that in another upcoming video. And also Shangri-La and the arena mode I will not actually have any footage of, but I'll probably briefly mention some stuff about it. So here we go. Well, first off, Far Cry 4, it is a lot like Far Cry 3. It's basically Far Cry 3.0. The graphics, there's a slight improvement, but for the most part, the gameplay works on the same formula. It's still got like the outposts. It's still got the the weapon wheel, crafting syringes. Although they made it work a little differently, and I feel it doesn't quite flow as well as it did before. It's like now you have to completely craft it in the wheel, and sometimes you'll end up crafting it and then back it out of the wheel and you'll accidentally use the syringe. But anyways, as you can just see what I did there, this is a new thing they have. There is bait. So you can use bait to attract nearby animals to help you attack your enemies. So that's a pretty cool new feature that they added. Another new feature that they added is you now get the grapple hook, and you can like climb mountains and stuff with that in select places, and it really helps you traverse the world better, as Far Cry 4 isn't oh, by the way, right here, fur graphics, I don't know what's up with those. I mean, they even on the PC version, they have a little thing that allows you to check or uncheck it, but I don't know what kind of fur graphics those are. Weird stuff. But anyways, so Far Cry 4 is about the same size as Far Cry 3, however, it has far more verticality in it. And that's where the wingsuit and all that comes in handy, and the grapple hook and stuff like that, but it really does make the world feel a lot bigger. But anyways, let's right now talk about some of the things you're seeing right now. Right, what this is right here, this is a eye for eye mission, and you have to take out the selected target, which is this guy right here, with a specific weapon, or not necessarily a specific weapon, a specific class of weapon. And then after you kill him, you have to take a picture of his body to prove that you killed him. So that's one of the side missions, and this next one, as you can see, this is the hostage rescue mission, and you have to have at least 2 hostages that survive and stuff. But there's also these hostage rescues. Instead of just side missions, they're also like some open world events that you'll see. Now let's talk about choices within the main story missions.
I'm trying to take us out of your third world bullshit.
It's our history, our culture, our traditions.
Tradition? Like what? Marrying little girls, is that it? Is that your big plan for Budra? Oh, go for it. Go ahead, show Ajay what kind of man you are.
So as you can see, Amita and Sabal argue and have disagreements throughout the main story, and this opens the opportunity for choice. You can either choose to side with Sabal, which I did most of the time, and he wants to stick to Kyrat's traditional values and their customs and religious beliefs, and Amita, on the other hand, wants to try to free the country and have a new beginning for it by making it a drug-fueled country. Now, since that's what the choices boil down to, you think it would affect the storyline in a pretty major way. Well, it doesn't exactly do that, because in the end, there's one choice, and that choice is really all that matters. None of the previous choices have any effect on your final choice. And in turn, the end result of the game. Because as I said before, these choices have absolutely no effect on the in-game scenario, and regardless of who you choose most, the last mission is still the same. Of course, you're presented with a final choice at the very end, but it has absolutely nothing to do with the previous choices you had been making thus far. So, now let's talk about the open world events. There are some cool open world events they do. Most of them are karma events. And actually, you can see one of them right here. This is a royal cargo. I do not actually capture the truck here or destroy it, but you can destroy it or return it to an outpost, and you get karma for it. Another one is there will be these couriers that will be on like four-wheelers or in a truck, and you have to go and take them out and intercept their orders so they don't get to their superior officers. Now that's what you're seeing here is another one of the side missions. It is a armed escort, and you basically just sit on top of the truck or stand on top of the truck and protect it from attackers. Another side mission is the Golden Path supplies. It's kind of like a fetch quest, but they do make it interesting. You do have to fight some enemies, and the last one kind of reveals a little bit of a spoiler here, but it reveals that there is some sort of like a spy inside the Golden Path, or maybe not spy, but maybe like a reporter from the U.S. or somewhere else. So next here is obviously what I would consider to be, for the most part, the meat of the game, other than the main story, and that is, of course, capturing outposts. I mean, that's what you do in this game, and that's how you unlock everything. So you're obviously going to be doing a lot of capturing outposts, and of course I try to do them as stealthy as possible, and this is one of probably, I don't know, I probably got about a sixth of them without raising an alarm. Normally in Far Cry 3 I think I did better, but I think that's because they made it a little more difficult here. The enemies have a little bit different patterns and everything. But as you, speaking of that takedown, of course you have to earn that, and also that thing in the background you see, that's a propaganda poster. That's one of the collectibles in the game. There's, I think, 150 of them. But anyway, let's talk about the skill. And of course you can disable alarms too to prevent reinforcements from coming. And of course they have a rating of how difficult they are based on how many alarms. And this one I think has 3 alarms. But anyways, let's talk about the skills. The skills, instead of having 3 trees this time, there's only 2 trees. And there are a couple new ones, but a lot of them are the same. You'll be pretty familiar with it. So basically, overall, if you're coming into this game after playing Far Cry 3, I mean, you already know the ropes. You'll get along in this game just fine. And also, as you can see here, this one might actually be the only footage I have other than the taking the fortress, which I'll talk about in a moment. Or actually, towards the end, I'll talk about that. This is in the northern area, and as you can see, it snows a lot more in this area, and it's pretty cool. Now here, this is pretty interesting, they added this, and once you capture an outpost, the enemy will try to come and reclaim it from time to time. So you have to go there and try to fend them off. So that's what I'm doing right here. I'm just using the gyrocopter to take out these guys, and this gyrocopter definitely makes, especially taking the bell towers to unlock more of the map, much easier, because you can just fly up there, and yeah, pretty easy. And as you can see, they have mortars in this game, which is pretty sweet. Boom. Anyways, so next up is some pretty funny guys, Yogi and Reggie. Take a look.
Oh shit. Oh. Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva, Om Nam Shiva.
Welcome, my brother. You've come to a place of peace, where the demons of modern life cannot reach you. You are safe here.
We tried the carrot. Guess he wants a stick then.
Hey! What the fuck?
So much for doing it the easy way. They do say winners don't do drugs.
So as you can see, Yogi and Reggie are pretty weird, and they're obviously always on drugs. But anyways, when you do these missions, you are obviously, as you can see, tripping on balls almost constantly. And this is basically the replacement for some of the drug tripping sequences in Far Cry 3. So these are, I don't know. Yeah. What do you say about that? That is really pretty weird, and they are truly a bunch of clowns. But anyways, so next up, obviously, we'll talk about some weapons. Here's the bow. The bow is still one of my favorite weapons, and they have, I think, a total of 42 weapons in this game. A lot of them are recycled, especially some of the signature weapons, which are, the bull, the shredder or the ripper, the predator. A lot of the weapons that you might recognize the names of from Far Cry 3. And also a new addition to this game is the autocross. This thing works pretty well. It uses a clip and everything. I guess it does have the range of the bow, maybe even more range, but it seems, well, actually you can only shoot the bow and everything up to a certain distance that it will actually render that, because I've tried shooting guys, and that's one of the problems. If you're trying to do super long range shots with a sniper rifle or something, it won't even register that the shots are hitting the enemy, and they won't even get alerted to them. So yeah, the weapon selection in Far Cry 4 is pretty good. Anyways, moving on. Some of the other side activities: hunting supplies and hunting survival. Those should be fairly self-explanatory, and there's a pretty good number of animals in the game. Also on the lines of hunting, there is a side quest called Kirat Fashion Week, and there's a series of them in which you hunt legendary animals, and some of them are pretty badass and pretty ferocious and mean, and really hard to kill, especially the rhino, which I'll probably upload a video in the future about that. And as you can see here, the wingsuit, of course, is back. And also, one thing that they added to this game is very interesting, is co-op. And I tried co-op out a little bit, and it works pretty good. I liked it. I haven't done too much of it, but I liked it. Also, you have guns for hire tokens that you can earn through karma events, and you can call on AI to help you out if you need it. Also, another cool thing is the bell towers. Now, when it does the cinematic and shows you all the locations, it actually marks them on your map now, so now you can know exactly where they're at. And also, here's another one of the side missions. As you can see, this is a Longinus mission, the black market arms dealer, and you go there to get him some diamonds and bring them back to him. And there's 4 of them. Next up, we have propaganda centers, and this is Robbie Rarana, the radio announcer. He tasks you to destroy these, to free up the airwaves, and of course liberate the bell towers as well, to be able to allow his signal to be spread to Radio Free Karat. So let's also now talk about some of the things I didn't like about the game. So the Himalayas sections, they were cool. You even had to use some oxygen, or you had to collect oxygen to keep breathing. Unfortunately, there was very few of those missions, and on top of that, I thought you'd be able to go to Himalayas whenever you want, but no, you can only go there on select story missions. Also, let's talk about the AI. The AI at times has seemed dumb, but for the most part, I'd say they're pretty good, and they seem pretty smart. Next, I would just say, for the most part, the world feels pretty alive. And anyways, so we'll talk about fortresses now. So the fortresses are basically like outposts, only they are much harder to conquer, and they recommend you do this with a co-op partner. I never did it with a co-op partner, but some of them, one of them, especially the first one, was pretty hard, and I did die a couple times trying to take it. But once you take it, none of the outposts in that area will be attacked anymore. Okay, so now let's talk about the main story. How did it hold up? I thought the main story was pretty good overall. I think Far Cry 3 was better, mainly because of the villain, Vaz. So, does Pagan Min hold up to Vaz? Pagan Min is a pretty cool villain. I liked him, but I think Vaz was better, and Vaz set a pretty high benchmark to beat. And Herc, another awesome character. He is back in this one. Not for very long, though, but I had the DLC, so I got to see where that went. So overall, the game, for me, took me about 50 hours. But I would just say 40-50 hours is a good estimate. But for a lot of players, I think it might be more like 30 to 40 hours. Another thing to mention is there are a lot of glitches in Far Cry 4, but none of them that I encountered were game-breaking glitches, and they were all actually quite funny. Another thing you might have noticed is I am playing with a limited interface, so you can change your HUD around and all that stuff. It offers a lot of options that Far Cry 3 didn't. So, how does this game stand up to Far Cry 3? Well, Far Cry 3 I think was a bit better, but Far Cry 4 is still a great game, and that brings me to my final verdict. So my final verdict for Far Cry 4 is a solid 8 out of 10. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video.